It all started when I met Kristy. Kristy and I both study at RMIT University in Melbourne, Australia. I was born and bred in the southeastern suburbs of this city and have spent, by and large, my entire life here. Kristy, on the other hand, was born in China, southern China to be exact. Needless to say, Kristy's childhood and upbringing was completely different to mine, and there were a few cultural differences between us. This is a story of one of those differences. Facebook, a word that didn't exist 10 years ago, and a website that has only come into existence in the last 5. Yet today, it has worked its way into popular culture, news and television, as well as in our hearts and minds. So what exactly is Facebook? According to Wikipedia, Facebook is a social networking service and website launched in February 2004. As of July 2011, Facebook has more than 800 million active users. To put that into perspective, if Facebook was a country, its population would rank the 3rd highest in the world, only behind China and India. And of those 800 million active users, according to Facebook, more than 50% of them log in every day. Obsessed? Yeah, a little bit. Many would argue Facebook is much more than a number, however. So, as a Facebook citizen myself, I logged on and put it to the jury. What is Facebook?
Getting messy.
Forum for people to share, bitch, moan, cry and connect. And a place to pick up filthy habits of bad spelling, but I love it.
A great way to stalk people without them knowing.
Not cool anymore.
Ruining my marks at uni probably takes up too much of my life. Lets me stay in touch with so many more people than I could/would otherwise.
The passport of the internet.
So what have I learned? Well, I guess that Facebook means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And where's this all going? Well, what if I told you I recently learned there's a country in the world that doesn't have Facebook? And not just any country, a country with more than 1 billion people living in it. It was number 1 on the list I made earlier. Yep, you guessed it, China. For reasons I definitely don't know enough about to explain, the Chinese government has chosen to block access to Facebook from within the country. So what's a Chinese version of Jono supposed to do every time he wakes up? Or every time he eats? Or every time he goes to bed? Or every time he goes to school? Or every time he needs to procrastinate? Or every time he needs to meet up with... You get the idea. Well, according to a fellow student of mine, international student, Kristy, from China, they have their own version of Facebook. It's called RenRen. RenRen, according to Kristy, directly translated means people. So what is people? And how are people using people? I figured the best way to find out was to ask Kristy to ask one of her friends to explain the site to me. So Ivy, what can you tell me about this so-called Facebook of China?
It's quite popular, like everyone from China is using it. I really like it as well.
Okay, what's the attraction to using RenRen?
Because all of my friends have people, and they are very active. Always put up some funny new stuff. So it makes me want to check out what happened to them every day. I'm totally obsessed with people. It's fun, and it's a way to communicate with my friends.
Crikey, I don't know about you, but to me that's sounding pretty familiar. No, still not convinced? How about this question? Ivy, how often do you check RenRen?
I would check my people like every 1 hour. In the morning, I open my eyes. The first thing I would do is grab my phone and check my people. Also, before I go to bed, I would definitely check it again.
If my mum is the expert she claims to be, then Facebook is having an effect on our lives. And if we keep listening to my mum, it's a negative effect. And yet, if there's anything I've learned from Kristy and Ivy, it's that maybe Facebook isn't actually the obsession here. I ended up sitting down with my good friend Tyler to have a chat on the subject.
So I guess, for me, Facebook, or I interpret Facebook as more just a natural progression in the way we communicate as people. I mean, we started off as direct face-to-face interaction. For a long time it was like that. But then you've had these sorts of advances in technology that allowed us to communicate in different ways. So, for instance, letters. I guess that was a huge step that was helped a lot by ease of transfer.
Tyler would continue on like this, explaining to me the vices and the virtues of such a technology and its impact on mankind. He's good like that. But really, Tyler had me at letters. I'd heard all I needed to hear, giving me the confirmation that it wasn't actually Facebook that I was obsessed with.
Yeah, another means to communicate.
That it was actually probably something more along the lines of connecting and socializing and sharing that was the attraction and the real obsession.